Okay,
We got
2
3
minutes
minutes.
to
right?
showtime.
I think Barbara froze again.
Yeah, she did. It's a nice smile. Can you hear us, Barbara?
Yes.
Could they hear you?
Oh, yeah, they can hear me. Absolutely.
Yep, Mike, we can hear you.
Yeah,
You're
Mike,
good.
you're fine.
Can you still hear me?
Yes,
Good
we hear
evening,
you.
yes, we can hear
trustees.
you.
Won't everybody be happy when we don't have to do this anymore?
Barbara most of all, yeah.
I know I will.
I know. I know.
Oh, you're happy. I'll be.
And just wait, the statement I have to read to the public is going to take 20 minutes. So
Great.
Yes.
new laws that they have passed.
What are you saying? 2-hour meeting? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, we're going to try not to, but I've seen dissertations smaller than the statement I have.
Oh, now, come on.
Are you blaming the lawyers, Dr. Roaster?
Yeah, I am.
It's
It's longer
perfect.
than my paper of professional quality, I can tell you that much.
That was
All right,
good.
7 o'clock.
Okay, let's go. All right, the meeting is called to order at 7 o'clock. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mhm.
Where is the flag?
It's coming.
There we
There
go.
we go.
It's coming. There we are. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
Do the flag.
of the United
United
States
States
of
of
United
America
States
America.
and to the
And to the
republic
Republic
for which it stands,
Yeah.
one
One
nation,
nation.
One nation.
under
Under
God,
God,
Under God.
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
Individual.
liberty
with
and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice.
Justice for all.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Dr. Rose.
Here we go. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was given in the annual meeting notice, which was emailed to the Herald News, the Record, Office of the County Clerk, the college community, and posted on the PCCC website and bulletin boards on November 19th, 2020. The public may participate in this meeting only during the public portion, which takes place near the end of the meeting. To be recognized to speak, members of the public who are attending on Zoom via the web should use the raise hand function. Upon recognition of the chair, you will unmute your microphone video. Members of the public who are attending the meeting via phone call must hit *9 on their phone keypad to raise their hand to be recognized. Upon recognition by the chair, they can mute their audio by using *6 on their phone keypad. Individuals addressing the board must give their name and address in an audible tone and will have 5 minutes to make their statement. I'm not done. If a member of the public becomes disruptive at any time during the meeting, including the time for public comment, the chair shall direct staff to mute the disruptive member of the public and warn that continued disruption may result in their being prevented from speaking at the meeting or being removed from the meeting. If a member of the public continues to act in a disruptive manner after receiving an initial warning, they may be muted while other members of the public are allowed to proceed with their questions or comments. If time permits, the disruptive individual shall be allowed to speak after all other members of the public have been given the opportunity to make comment. Should the person remain disruptive, the individual may be muted or kept on mute for the remainder of the meeting or removed from the meeting. Comments from the public which are provided by email or written letter will be read aloud during the meeting in a manner auditable to all meeting participants and the public. The time limit for public comment shall apply to comments received via email or written letter. Such comments will be read from the beginning until the time limit is reached. The board may pass over duplicate written and email comments. However, each duplicate comment shall be noted for the record with the comments summarized. I am done.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Trenton, for
Dr. Rose. Okay, can I have a roll call?
Yes. Alumni Rep Balaam,
Here.
Trustee Drakeford. I don't see her. Trustee
I think
Esquiche?
that was directed at us, Evelyn.
I'm sorry? Someone said something?
And it was Barbara, and I think her screen is frozen again.
Yeah, I'm not up to her yet, though. Okay, Trustee Esquiche?
Yeah.
Trustee Glovin?
Present.
Trustee Moody?
Oh, God.
Present.
Trustee Nutter? Trustee Poe? Trustee Poe?
Here, sorry, I was muted.
That's okay. Trustee Smith?
Here.
Trustee Trivedi? Trustee Tanis? I know she's there. Chairman Marco?
Here.
Sorry, Dennis.
Okay. First order of
Here.
business. First order of business will be the consideration of the minutes of November 17th of the board trustees. The minutes were included in all of the board members' packets. If there are any corrections with those minutes, please let me know right now.
Yes, I have a correction. It's Al Moody.
Sure, Al.
Under organization of the board, they have Chairwoman Nutter.
Oh,
Oh. Okay.
yeah, they do. Thanks, Al.
Good catch, Al.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any other corrections? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the corrected minutes?
Move it as corrected.
Second,
Second.
roll.
Trustee Esquiche?
Yeah.
Trustee Glovin?
Yes.
Trustee Moody?
Yes.
Trustee Poe?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Vice Chair Tanis?
Yes.
Chairman Marco?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Next, we have a presentation of our audit report.
I think I'll ask Stephen Hardy to introduce our auditors, our auditor.
Stephen, you're on mute.
There he is. Nope, he's muted again. All right, I will introduce Mauricio. Let me first, before we start, I wanted to thank Stephen. As many of you know, we had a confluence of events this year. Our controller of 40 years retired in the middle of the audit. Our budget manager left. Those are the two people who primarily worked with the auditors in the past to provide all of the information. So Stephen always led the effort, but he was secondary in this, and he had to become primary and basically do the work of three people in order to work with the auditors to get this done. So by all accounts, he did an extraordinary job, and we are very thankful to him. And you see Theo Rowe is on the call tonight, and he is the new controller. And Stephen is very pleased that he has joined the team, and will next year, Stephen will not have to do all this, but I know he learned a lot. And Mauricio, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. My name is Mauricio Canto. I'm the partner from Donahue, Toronto, Doria, and Tompkins. We actually performed the annual independent audit of financial statements of the Passaic County Community College for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2020. This year, besides the pandemic, there were many challenges. I'm glad you brought that up, Dr. Rose. The controller did leave of 40 years, and so did your budget director. And we actually had a new manager join the firm, and she was actually heading this audit. Her name was Sarah Serena. She actually she would have been here today. She just had a family emergency. I would have liked for her to be here to introduce her to the board. However, it wasn't possible. She actually has a lot of college experience doing audits of colleges in the state of California, in other states actually. And it was interesting to bring a fresh set of eyes to the audit, and Stephen was actually very helpful and rose to the very complex situation or challenges. And he does definitely deserve his credit. So getting back to the actual audit, the audit is still in draft form for two reasons, actually. The first reason is the same as last year, that the state had not released their GASB 75 report, which actually states what the other post-employment benefit liability is for the college. It's actually the state's portion of the state is actually responsible for that liability on behalf of the college. And that liability is actually the future value of what the health benefits are for the retirees. That report was released yesterday, late in the day. So hopefully when we'll be able to finalize that portion in by the end of the week. If that would have been the case, however, there's another interesting caveat, which I'll repeat over and over, which has to do with the CARES Act funding, or the COVID-19 funding, as we state in the statement of expenditures for federal awards. The CARES Act funding was released sort of, I'm not going to say hastily, because it was actually had to be done very quickly, and there was not much guidance out there. And the state still has not released, well, not the state, the federal government still has not released their audit program, which we refer to as the compliance supplement to audit the CARES Act funding. We did audit it in regards to the agreements that were in place and any guidance available. However, we still have to wait for that compliance supplement before we can finalize the audit. It was supposed to be released sometime this week. It still hasn't been released, but we hopefully will be able to release this audit before the end of the calendar year, which is the statutory deadline. However, everyone's getting extensions on these deadlines for many reasons, mostly related to COVID, though. Dr. Rose, may I should I share the report, or?
Whatever you'd like. If you would like, Chris, you need to give him.
He
or can I
has, Mauricio, you have privileges to share your screen if you'd like, or any documents.
Just for the rest of the boards, we did have an audit committee meeting at 5 p.m. today with several of the trustees on it. So we did a deeper dive into it at that time, and just, you know.
Okay, can everyone, Dr. Rose, can you see my screen?
Looks good.
Everyone can see my screen? Great. Okay, going into the audit, the first part I'd like to bring to your attention is always the auditor's independent auditor's report. This is basically a clean opinion for the college, and it basically says that the college financial statements are fairly stated and there are no material misstatements of any kind. The only difference this year is that we have an emphasis of matter regarding COVID, and it actually restates what's in the notes of financial statements, that there was a state of emergency for the state of New Jersey, actually by the President of the United States and the governor and the executive orders, and that there was a disruption of the college's operations, and there's a lot of uncertainties due to the pandemic. And this is basically repeating what's in the notes of financial statements, subsequent events. So it's just bringing to the emphasis of matter on the COVID pandemic and the uncertainties. Now, moving on to the manager's discussion and analysis. We went more in depth into this during the finance committee meeting. However, I wanted to just highlight that the college actually went down in total credit hours, only slightly in comparison to prior years. We discussed it a little bit more in depth. A lot going on with the economy, but it was from my perspective as the auditor, I would have thought it would have been a lot worse. So I received more of a thorough explanation from Dr. Rose as to why it actually did not decline as much as we would have thought it would have. So just to emphasize on that matter, for the 2020 fiscal year, the total credit hours was 129,000, while compared to 2019, it was 131.6 thousand. And that was only a decrease of about 2,500 credit hours as opposed to the decrease in the prior year, which is about 5,300. One thing I'd also like to highlight, we stayed in the manager's discussion analysis, and it was brought up during the finance committee meeting, that the tuition rate went up to $177 per credit hour. Now, this actually reflects change in the way the billings, well, the rates are calculated. It does not. It now includes a fee that was previously charged separately. When that's why there's the big fluctuation in difference between the $126 that was in 2019 to the $177 that there is in 2020. We're going to, before we reissue the final report, I will actually discuss it with management and put in the actual the correct fee in there so that you could compare apples to apples better when it's being read. Now, moving on to the actual financial statements. What I usually like to do is highlight that the change in net position for the year. Now, a lot went into this number, and one of the items that goes into this number that historically did not is the pension liability, which was required by GASB 68. Now, historically, if we go back to the way that position was calculated before, that was not included. The actual something unusual happened this year, which was that the pension liability went down from the previous year about $1 million. So the change in that position would have been actually a negative $2.6 million if we did not include the net pension liability decrease. Now, this number includes the actual change in, it has a lot to do with the grants and and some of the capital grants and contributions that were given to the college. However, I just wanted to go over that when Stephen presents to the board and to Dr. Rose the actual trial balance, or what the change in net position was just for the operating fund, it was approximately $1 million in 2020. That's how much was contributed to the actual surplus that you have. So overall, it appeared to be a positive year where you still came in increasing your net position for the operations of the college. And one other item is that your federal grant awards increased substantially, and that was mainly attributed to the COVID-19 or the CARES Act funding that the college received. Now, not all the college did receive over $2 million, and not all of it was spent during fiscal year 20. So some of it actually is sitting in cash or unearned income on the balance sheet. So that leads me into the other part of the audit, which was findings and comments. The audit appears it's going to be a clean audit. There are no findings or question caused audit. That speaks very well of the college. We actually do a few other colleges, and we do many school districts and authorities, and it's very rare to see an audit without any findings. The only caveat we have is a little bit of the CARES Act funding. The college management of the college did not have a lot of guidance on how to spend the money, and the compliance supplement might come back with some changes. However, you're still in the process of expending those monies and preparing the reports for reimbursements, and there's an opportunity to make some corrections. I don't see that having any effect on the audit or as far as findings or question costs. see. The only parts that are in yellow are the parts regarding the OPEB liability, which we can update. And the only other item I wanted to highlight was the COVID-19 funding, which shows up in a few items. However, it was broken up into two parts, into student aid and institutional aid. And the total spent was about $1.1 million. However, you did receive over $2 million in that funding that is still sitting in unearned income to be used in the 2021 fiscal year. And that completes my synopsis of the audit thus far. Is there any questions from the board members?
Mr. Canto, this is Michael Gloven, trustee. I have a question for you. Are there strings on the CARES money that's sitting in under and that's still sitting there? You know,
Yes.
when I mean strings, I mean, are there restrictions on how the money could be spent in this fiscal year? And
Yes,
what are they?
that's actually what we're finding. There's two parts to it. One was actually to assist with student tuition, and the other part was more of valid expenses that were over what you had budgeted because of the pandemic. And we're finding that there's actually a lot of strings, and it's actually been very difficult to keep up with it. And that's why I don't fault the college management for some of the corrections that are going to have to be made. I mean, it's happening in non-profit and government, and big time in the business world, as far as people having these PPP loans and their forgiveness, and that's changing constantly. So to summarize the answer to your question is there are many strings attached.
So, Dr. Rose, I mean, the money needs to sit there for a while, huh? Is that what that
Well,
means?
no. I mean, we're spending it, but it's a challenge. You know, every time we go to spend it, the goalpost keeps moving. So it's the rules are changing, almost constantly. And unfortunately, the big problem is that they when they came out with the funds, they said that you cannot use it to replace any losses that you have.
What does that mean?
Well, what that means, if tuition goes down because we have less students, the money cannot be used to cover that. If the state cuts us our revenue, which they did, we cannot use it to cover that. We can use it to buy as many masks and hand sanitizer as we want, which we're buying in 55-gallon drums at this point. We can use it for any extra expenses that we have, concerning COVID-19. So there was a lot of technology issues, where we had, moving all of the classes to remote learning took a lot of, we had to buy a lot of laptops, we had to buy this, we had to buy that, all of those things, extra things were able to be covered, and that's wonderful. But, you could not use it to replace losses. Mauricio, I want to ask one question. We actually had two pots of money. One was the institutional money, and one was the money that went to students, that went directly to students. Altogether, that was much more than, it was like 5.4 million.
You did receive some more funding after, or cash receipts after the fiscal year ended.
No, I'm talking about the pre-fiscal year. The original CARES money was in two pieces. One that was solely to go to students, and one that was for institutional purposes. I think it was, Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was about $2.7 million each.
Yes, correct.
And you seem to be talking about one pot of money, and I'm just, maybe one doesn't go on here because of that. That's why.
Correct. Yeah, it's I was mostly referring to the student aid. So in total, you have closer to $3 million sitting under an income.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification, Dr. Rose.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions?
I'll just add, obviously we're pleased by the result. It's about the craziest audit, you're going to see, and it's probably the most confusing audit we were going to see. We went into the year, when enrollment dropped precipitously a few years ago because of all the undocumented students who stopped attending, we had a very bad year. We had for the first time, more or less in our history, we had to dip into the reserves to balance the budget, and that left us with, a very, very poor amount of reserves. And we went into this year with the goal of having to improve those reserves. We were below any standard that was set in terms of, what is a good amount to have in reserves in your rainy day fund. And our goal was to improve that. We improved it to a tune of a little over $1 million that we have in our reserves, in addition to what we had. Still not enough, but much, much better than we were. So that was our main fiscal goal last year, and that was pre-COVID. That we managed to still, obviously, when all this hit, we got kind of worried we were not going to be able to achieve our goal of increasing the fund balance. But we did. So, congratulations to Stephen and his team, and, for what we were able to get done this year. So we're pleased.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Rose. Thank you to the board for having us and to give us the opportunity to perform this audit. If there's any more questions, that concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You too.
What I would like to do now, since we have some attendees from the public, could really open up the public session. I guess the process here, Dr. Rose read it, and so I guess I'm not sure if I'm going to see the hand raising or not, Steve. So.
Well, we know that we have two people who contacted us prior to the meeting asking to speak. One was Merrill Siegel and one was Lisa DiLiberto. So I think this would be an appropriate time to turn the floor over to them.
Sure, I see Merrill and I see Lucia. Okay.
You want my name and address?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Okay, Merrill Siegel. I live at 250 Greenway Road in Ridgewood, New Jersey. And I'm president of the Faculty Association. Good evening, Chairman Marco, Board of Trustees, President Rose, and everyone else assembled here. Good evening. First of all, on behalf of the faculty, I would like to thank the board for the support they have given to the faculty over the years. The faculty of PCCC have worked very hard during this pandemic to continue delivering to our students an excellent education by using new technologies for remote education. The board and the administration, President Rose, Vice President Kenevi, Senior Dean Stasis, have been very supportive of the faculty's efforts during this pandemic. And the faculty are very appreciative of this support and the training, and particularly the new laptops that have been provided. This evening, I would like to speak to you about one particular faculty member, Professor Lisa DiLiberto. Professor DiLiberto is a tenured faculty member who has taught at the college for 25 years. She left her position as a health information management administrator and came to the college and developed the health information program from scratch. She also developed it into a completely online program in the hope of attracting students who lived out of the vicinity of the college. Due to low enrollment in the health information management program, the college has decided to discontinue the program, thereby eliminating the faculty position in the program effective June 30th, 2021. The faculty member in that position is Professor Lisa DiLiberto. The leadership of the Faculty Association understands the college's right to discontinue the program. However, the tenure law in New Jersey gives Professor DiLiberto the right to remain as a tenured faculty member to teach courses that are currently taught by adjuncts or faculty junior to her, so long as she has the appropriate credentials. We believe Professor DiLiberto has the credentials to teach a number of different courses across several disciplines, just as several other faculty do at the current time. Her degrees span several disciplines: health information management, business, and information technology. There are courses in each of these disciplines that she can continue to teach and is well qualified to do so. The faculty and the administration, with President Rose and Vice President Kennedy at the helm, have always settled issues in a collegial and collaborative manner. I'm sure we will be able to do the same with this issue as we advocate for Professor DiLiberto's tenure rights to be honored and for her right to remain as a tenured faculty member of Passaic County Community College. Thank you for listening and happy holidays, and I wish you all a healthy, joyous new year. Thank you.
You're muted, Dennis.
I'm unmuted. There you go. Thank you very much, Merrill, for those statements.
Thank you.
Next, who's on? Is it Professor DiLiberto?
Hi, yes, good evening.
Good evening.
As you know, my name is Lisa DiLiberto, and I'm a tenured associate professor and have served the college and its students for 25 years. PCCC informed me last Wednesday, December 9th, that it intends to eliminate my tenured faculty position effective July 1st. This comes before you tonight for consideration. I would like you to know that I've been a dedicated member of the PCCC community for the last 25 years. I've worked hard to obtain and maintain external accreditation of the HIM programs. Over the years as program director and chairperson, I have crafted the program to provide students with the knowledge, skills, and experiences they need not only to pass the national certification exam, but also to be valuable employees of the healthcare system. This has been demonstrated through a 100% pass rate among our graduates on the national certification exam for many years, and to graduates working successfully in health information management positions throughout the country. I've served the college in many ways over the years. I've always served on committees at the college, at least 2 each year, including academic council, where I served repeat terms as vice president, as well as terms as recording secretary and corresponding secretary. I've served numerous years on the Education Technology Committee, chairing the committee for a number of years. This year, in addition to participating in the Educational Tech Committee, I am also a member of the Curriculum Committee and Peer Assessment Committees. I was among 3 faculty members who began teaching online at PCCC in the late 90s and have continued to do so. I'm an early adopter of technology and share my knowledge with my colleagues, both formally in workshops and informally one-to-one. While the programs I have primarily taught in are being discontinued by the college, I am qualified to teach courses in other departments and programs. My master's degree is in Health Systems Administration, which is essentially a business degree with a focus in healthcare. My undergraduate degree is in Medical Records Administration, now known as Health Information Management, which is a combination of business, computers, and health science. And that's what I loved about that career, that combination of business, computers, and health science. Within the HIM program, I teach courses in supervision and management and health statistics and legal aspects. Prior to joining PCCC, I was a hospital administrator in charge of the non-clinical areas of the hospital. I am qualified to teach and have been teaching the administrative courses in the medical assisted program and the healthcare courses in the medical informatics degree. I'm also qualified to teach business and management courses in the business program, computer concepts and Microsoft applications in the CIS programs, and some math courses. Finally, I wish you to know that I have a desire to continue to teach as a faculty member at PCCC, and hope that you will consider continuing my tenure position. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor DiLiberto. Is there anyone else that's from the public that is would like to make any comments? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to move into the reports from President Rose.
Sure. I think we have several policy matters on for first readings tonight. And Mike, you're probably the best to present these since you drafted them. You're muted.
There I am. Let me get to the policies. Okay, so we have 4 policies for your consideration. 3 are revisions. 1 is a new policy. A102 describes the duties and powers of the president. The existing policy is in existence now. References the state college statute, not the county college statute. The county college statute actually does not have a corollary to the state college statute. What I propose here is to revise the language to eliminate the reference to the statute and more concisely word the powers and duties. A302 is the chain of command for the board, for the college, starting with the Board of Trustees through the president on down, as you see. This was done in consultation with Dr. Rose. There have been title changes and personnel changes over the years in the 6 or 7 years since this was adopted. So we felt it was time to revise it. B108 refers to Title IX, sex discrimination, and sexual harassment. For those of you who are not aware, Title IX is a portion of federal statutes that require that colleges and universities not discriminate on the basis of sex. It is perhaps most famously known in the sports world, but has actually more direct application across all aspects of colleges and universities. And in May of this year, the Secretary of Education issued sweeping new regulations to govern the procedures for handling claims of sexual harassment and sexual misconduct. This required a lengthy revision of college procedures. Some colleges have put that in as board policy, and I will tell you, ours goes for 30-odd pages. It was my judgment that the procedures don't rise to a policy level. However, what I did feel rose to the policy level was to revise the policy to designate who the Title IX coordinator and deputy coordinator would be by title, and to charge them with the responsibility of drafting and implementing the grievance procedures, which we did over the summer and finalized just after the deadline imposed by Washington. Finally, C207 is a new policy regarding information security. The Graham-Leach-Bliley Act of 1999 was amended in 2002 to require that colleges and universities have an information security policy and program. And this, I believe, was brought to our attention by our auditors. Brad Morton, our Vice President of Information Technology, did a great job in giving me an initial first draft of a policy, which I was able to fine tune a little bit, and we presented it here for your approval on first reading. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Good, I put everybody to sleep. Keep it moving down.
I have a question, but I'm trying to bring up, I think it's the role of the president. did you speak to already why 18A is not included in the suggested revision?
Yes, the existing policy quotes the section of Title 18A that refers to state colleges,
Right,
not county colleges.
okay,
And I felt that was inappropriate. I feel that the powers and duties of the president align pretty much with that statutory reference, but I don't think that we should be referring specifically to a statute that has no application to the county college. Rather, I think it's important that you in your policy set forth explicit powers and duties are of the president without reference to what I consider to be an incorrect statutory reference.
okay. Without me talking about Patterson State Teachers College, which existed when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, I'm just going to make another assumption that maybe this statute has not been revisited since we had Glassboro State, Newark State, Montclair State. So I'll leave that alone.
That is probably true.
Yeah, I can agree.
And so if we can move to chain of command, the current policy, it's probably a typo, but we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6.
Yeah.
5
It's a
is
typo.
missing.
Okay.
So I'm assuming you were just checking to see if Gracie Allen was paying attention.
No, that might actually be the way it was in the existing, but
Okay,
no matter, we're going to revise it, hopefully.
all righty. But that was my question. And is there are people already in these positions? Can you speak to why it would go to the Vice President for Institutional Advancement before it goes to the Vice President for Information Technology?
One's been here for 25 years and one just started.
Okay, so in my head, the chain of command to a degree is based on not seniority, but longevity in terms of the institution.
It's a combination of both.
Okay,
It's a combination of both. I mean, it's more a question of, if who would be next in line. So, it clearly is Dr. Kennedy, who, has a breadth of responsibility throughout the college, and 3/4 of the college report directly to her right now. So, if someone were to be number 2, that would be her. I'll tell you, 25 years ago today, this week, was my first board meeting at the college, and I took over as this was the last time I think the chain of command came into play, where I was second in the chain of command at the college. And the December board meeting in 1995 was my first board meeting at the college, and I held Jackie's position at that point at the college. So that would be natural at most colleges.
so that would lead me to understand then that depending on who's in what position, that the chain of command would definitely change based on when folks retire.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is, the person who is the chief academic officer of the college typically would always be number 2. That would be very typical. And your chief fiscal officer, being number 3 also would be, for the most part, very typical at a college. But, it varies. It can vary.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
B108, go right into that, Mike.
I already explained that one.
All right.
All right, I'll continue. Purchases of goods and services. Nothing too extraordinary here. Software licensing and management and maintenance. Advertising, which is basically sending out some mailers to the county and various things like that. And the last one is a CARES Act purchase, as we talked about before. This is, again, when we opened the college in September, we added thermal scanning devices to several of the doors at the college, which allow automatic temperature taking when people come in. Just to show again how these things are going. The last week of November, the state informed us that they have another $1.3 million for us to spend in CARES funding, but it has to be spent by December 31st. in order to do it. So, you know, we've tried to find the most important things we could do with that money. I don't think we will be able to spend it all responsibly by December 31st. So, you know, unfortunately, some of it, the state has applied for an extension, but at this point, it's unknown whether we would get an extension. So this last purchase extends that to all of the doors in all campuses of the college, which, you know, should provide some importance for us going forward and the ability to do that. So that's purchase of goods and services. Any questions on that? All right, personnel items. So as part of, Mike, you'll help me here if I get it wrong. As part of what you heard tonight, in what Professor Siegel and DiLiberto spoke about tonight, Professor DiLiberto asked that we discuss in public the item that is on the personnel agenda tonight, and which she explained. Let me just say, I wish I got to talk before Professor DiLiberto spoke, because I would have mirrored, you know, almost everything she said. You know, she built a program at the college. She came 25 years ago. Actually, she, in her first couple of months at the college, we had an extra office in the president's area, and she kind of worked with us for those first couple of months she was at the college when she was building the program. She has been an outstanding faculty member at the college. She is a wonderful professor. She did an incredible job building this program up. It is absolutely not her fault at all that the program is not working. This seems to be, several colleges have already eliminated their program in this area. It happens it is an accredited program, which means it's an outside group which accredits the program. They actually have put some what we would consider to be unrealistic and unreasonable things that we would have to do in order to maintain the program. One would be that we would have to actually add a second faculty member to the program. And we've got about 30 students in the program at various stages. So most of the classes we have been running for years have been under enrolled. So I think there seems to be general understanding in terms of the fact that the program just is not viable any longer. For the few students that we have, it appears we're going to be able to make an arrangement with another college, which, while most of the colleges in New Jersey have eliminated the program also, it appears there's one or two that are still standing, and we're working on developing a relationship with that college, which would allow us to continue offering to the program to the few students, you know, who want it each year, and certainly will give a way for the students who are currently enrolled in the program to finish up the program at this point. As Professor Siegel said earlier, when we have a dispute, we work it out, we talk it through. We have every intention of working with Professor DiLiberto to see if there are any options going forward where, I am not an expert on some of the laws that Merrill spoke about in terms of, but certainly we will investigate all of them. We will, do a closer look into Professor DiLiberto's thing. It happens. There is also a new grant that the college recently received, which has an open position, which truthfully she would be absolutely perfect for. And Dr. Knieve will be speaking with her to talk about that as a possibility going forward. So if there is a way to keep her at the college, that is something, we will certainly try to make happen at this point. But let me just say the move to eliminate the program and therefore eliminate her position in the program, has absolutely nothing to do with her performance. She is outstanding and has been an incredibly valuable member of the college community pretty much since she's been here.
Can I ask a question, Dr. Rose?
Sure.
This actually is to you, Mr. Cerrone. Are there time limitations on the Tenure Act in terms of how soon or how late the college has to act in regards to her position?
No, there are no time limits. The regulations from the Office of the Secretary of Higher Education allow for a tenured faculty member to be non-reappointed when there is a situation like we see now, which is a natural diminution in the number of students or a reduction of program, which is, this clearly falls within.
So there's no something like a 45-day period or anything like that, right?
No, if I understand what administration is doing here, is they are using as a guideline the timeline that would be given for non-reappointment of a non-tenured faculty member.
Okay.
And so is giving effectively more than 6 months notice to the faculty.
You froze.
Goes up, Mike.
He'll be back soon.
Here he is.
Am I back? Am I
Yeah, you're
back?
back.
You're back.
As Dr. Rose explained, I know that the administration is trying to find some alternative that might allow Professor DiLiberto to stay with the college. So
Fair enough.
I hope
Thank you.
that answers your question.
Okay.
May I?
Sure, go ahead, Trustee Smith.
And this is meant with love as a retired educator who has sat in Dr. Rose's seat, but in another institution, and finding myself in the same situation oftentimes with faculty. And unfortunately, there was a phrase that I used to hear often, which I really didn't appreciate: last hired, first to be fired. Never took great umbrage to that. But keeping that in mind, as I listened to everyone, I wrote down three things that just jumped in my head, and not in any given order. The first thing that I wrote down was, what effect will this have on our tenured professors and or adjunct, the folks that work in an adjunct position, and or those who are junior to Professor DiLiberto? And I wrote down, will they lose their jobs, or will they lose a part of their job, or will they lose a part of whatever their earnings are? And then I also jotted down, is there a possible way to maintain the services of Professor DiLiberto without adversely affecting anyone else that serves in the role of an educator at Passaic County Community College? I don't expect an answer now.
Well, no, let me just answer the first part of what you said.
Thank you.
This is a one-person department.
Understood.
So she more or less teaches. There may be a few adjuncts who have taught in the program as well, but the fact of the matter is, Professor DiLiberto is the program.
Understood. Let me say it like this, Dr. Rose. I am certified to teach across different curriculum, different disciplines. And I thought I heard that this evening, that Professor DiLiberto she has the credentials and the ability and the knowledge, and she has proven herself to be an extraordinary educator across different disciplines. So that's why I'm putting that question out there, that if we can successfully maintain her quality services, I'm hoping that it will not have an adverse effect.
No, and look, that is, there is a there is somewhat of a gray area. It is required that you have a master's degree in the area in which it's not like K-12 where there is a certification in certain areas. In higher ed, it is different.
That's understood too. Trust me.
And who is qualified to teach in a discipline is often an area of dispute.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we have to explore going forward in terms of, what would we hire this person to teach in a certain discipline if they were applying to the college as a new professor at this point? this is what we need to talk about going forward. And this is what, when Professor Siegel said, we will, work our usual way to try and work things out and talk about how we can, deal with this. We will do that.
Okay, but I'd like to say in conclusion, because I know you understood what I was saying, is that we would love to maintain her services. But that at best, Merrill spoke to, forgive me for calling you Merrill out of no disrespect. My brain.
We all do. It's okay.
I remember your last name. She spoke to the awesome collaborative nature that our faculty has amongst themselves, along with administrators. And all I'm saying is this, is that as we seek to do whatever we can do to keep Professor DiLiberto here at the campus, that we don't end up with a couple of disgruntled fellow educators because they either lose or, and I don't want to finish the sentence, but you understand what I'm saying. It needs to be a win-win situation, full circle.
Okay, I'm sure it will be. I would like to have a motion on resolution 2 that we meet in executive session.
Two more items before we get there.
You want to do the
We have just two
special
special recognitions.
You want to do those now? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's on the agenda at that order, so might as well.
Go for it.
Yeah, the first one is, as most of you have noticed, Trustee Glovin has joined us, and the person he replaced was Trustee Duhame, and many of you, Trustee Duhame has a long history with the college, and as Mike Glovin knows very well, when Rich Duhame was a freeholder, what his support of the college was unending, and in particular his support of the Wanacue campus. And he was a gubernatorial appointee, and he was recently replaced by the governor. But one of the things I think would be very appropriate, and what I'm recommending to the board here, is that we dedicate the library up in the Wanacue campus to Trustee Duhame and put up an appropriate plaque to that, because he has been just an important part of the college for a long time. And truthfully, we already have a little part of the library that has his picture in it, where we recognized him when the campus opened. And this would just be, I think, the next step, and very appropriate for all that he's done for the college throughout the years. So that would be the first resolution that we are recommending. The second one is our county administrator, Anthony DeNova, I think last Friday actually was recognized with a Lifetime Achievement Award by the New Jersey Association of Counties. And when we heard about it, we typically don't do some of these types of things before, but Mr. DeNova has also been a very significant person in the history of the college, and just has given incredible support. So this is merely a resolution recognizing the fact that he got the award and congratulating him for it. And I think it'd be a nice way for the trustees to show their appreciation and respect for him.
Okay. Do we have?
I'd like to move it if it's okay.
Well, we'll do that on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So can I move forward now?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'd like to have a motion on resolution 2 to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Roll.
Have you on mute.
Ed, you're on mute.
Somebody muted me. Trustee Skiche?
Yeah.
Okay. Trustee Glovin?
Yes.
Trustee Moody?
Yes.
Trustee Nutter?
Yes.
Trustee Poe?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Trivedi?
Yes.
Vice Chair Tanis? Chairman Marco?
Yes. Okay, the board will meet in executive session for approximately 20 minutes to discuss personnel, contract matters, and matters protected by attorney-client privilege. No action will be taken in the executive session.
Son of a gun, we're back.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Good job, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know where you are, man. But you're doing a great job.
Chris, I think I might have to come in for some training on this.
No worries, no worries.
Good job.
Okay, the meeting is called to order. The board met in executive session to discuss personnel, contract matters, and matters protected by attorney-client privilege. No action was taken in the executive session. I got roll call.
Trustee Esquiche,
Yes.
trustee Gloven,
Yes.
trustee Moody,
Yes.
trustee Nutter,
Yes.
trustee Poe,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
trustee Trivedi,
Yeah.
vice chair Tanis. I saw her hand. Chairman Marco,
Yes. Okay, may I have a motion on resolution number 3, consent agenda, items
Yes.
A through D? Second,
Second.
roll call.
trustee Esquiche, trustee Gloven,
Yes.
trustee Moody.
Yes, but I have a question on this.
Okay,
Go ahead, Al.
Second.
Just quick question. What does interior fit up mean? What is that about? I know we rejected those bids, but
Interior fit up is when you, it's the inside of the building rather than the outside of the building. So when you're renovating the interior of a building, it's called interior fit up.
okay.
okay, so we just need a lot of work to, all right.
Yep.
You're gonna rebid?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Nutter,
Yes.
trustee Poe,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
trustee Trivedi,
Yes.
vice chair Tanis. Saw your hand. Chairman Marco,
Yes. Okay, are there any remarks from the trustees or the public? If not, Mike, you want to read any public comments you might have received by email?
I received none.
You received none, that's good. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move it.
So moved. So I got 2 in a
Second.
second. Great. Second by Al. Okay. Meeting is adjourned.
Have a good holiday, all.
Yes.
Wonderful holiday, everybody.
Enjoy.
Happy
safe, happy,
holidays,
healthy.
everyone. Stay safe.
Hey, everybody.
Everyone.
Peace.
Let's hope 2021